So today concludes our chapter about vehicles and the cost associated to having a vehicle. And we're going to specifically talk about renting a vehicle. So there are going to be different times in your life that you may need to rent a vehicle. Maybe it's because you're going on vacation and you're flying there and you're going to need a vehicle or transportation while you are on vacation. Maybe it's because your vehicle was in an accident and is at a garage and you need a vehicle to get back and forth to work. So whatever your reason is for renting a vehicle, we're going to look at the costs associated with renting a vehicle. Now, to rent, that means that you're agreeing to pay a set fee for the use of the property, such as a vehicle or a building. So this is not just for cars, but if you're renting a building as well, often on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. So there are always different agreements that you have when renting a vehicle. Maybe you're paying for unlimited miles. Maybe you have to pay per mileage. But there's some costs that might be associated with your renting a vehicle that might be hidden as well. Somewhere along the line, they're going to talk about a CDW waiver. And a CDW waiver is a collision damage waiver. So this is to ensure that the vehicle is paid for if you have an accident while in that vehicle. Now let me explain to you, when you're renting a car, the rental companies won't tell you this because they want you to buy that collision damage waiver. However, most insurance companies, if you already pay for car insurance, will cover a rental car for you. Not all of them. You need to check your own personal agreement to see whether that includes rental vehicles or not. I know personally my car insurance covers a rented vehicle if I need to rent a vehicle. So when I rent a car, I waive this collision damage waiver. And I don't pay the extra money to have it. Because if I am in an accident, my car insurance that I currently pay for will cover that accident. Okay, so we're going to be looking at cost per mile. Now, the first thing we'll have to do is total all of our pieces together. Whether we're paying per day, whether we're paying per mile, we're adding on our gas, we're putting all the costs associated to renting the vehicle, and then we'll divide that by the number of miles, and that's going to tell us what our cost per mile is to drive that vehicle. So let's look at our first example. It says Joe rented a standard SUV for 3 days at $49.95 per day plus 20 cents per mile. He purchased the collision waiver for $24.99 per day. Joe drove 468 miles and paid $66.70 for gasoline. What is his total cost? So his total cost is going to start with 3 days paying at $49.95 per day. So that's one of the costs he's going to accrue. He's also paying 20 cents per mile. So 20 cents for 468 miles is the second cost he pays. He purchased the collision waiver, that's the CDW, for $24.99 per day. So that's going to be 3 times $24.99. In addition to that, he put $66.70 in gas, because when you return a rented vehicle, you always have to return it with a full tank of gas. So the total cost he accrued over the 3 days is $385.12 for the vehicle. So we're going to take that and find the cost per mile. We're going to take that total cost of $385.12 and we're going to divide that by his mileage of 468. And that means that he paid 82 cents per mile, I'm lagging a little bit here, to drive that vehicle. So his total costs were $385.12 and his cost per mile was 82 cents per mile. So let's look at a book example. It has Winona rents a car for $30 a day for 4 days plus 22 cents per mile and does not need the collision damage waiver. So that's good. That means her insurance already covers that. She drives 430 miles and spends $59.90 on gas. We're going to first calculate the total cost. So $30 a day for 4 days. So we're going to have that 30 times 4 plus 22 cents per mile. So she drove 430 miles. And she had to spend $59.90 to add gas and to drop it back off with a full tank of gas. So that means that her cost to rent the car was $274.50. Her cost per mile, we're going to take that $274.50 and divide it by her 430 miles that she drove, and that's going to give her a cost of 64 cents per mile. Now, some cars that you rent can have unlimited mileage, but some will charge you per mile. So you have to pay attention to those different aspects in your rental agreement. All right, let's look at our last example. It says Wilson rents a car for 5 days at $51.29 a day and has unlimited miles. So that means he doesn't have to pay per mile. You can see that the price per day is a little bit higher, but if he has to go a far distance, it might equal out in the end. He drives 198 miles and spends $29.90 on gasoline. He does have a collision damage waiver fee of $15.50 per day. So let's find his total cost. So his total cost is 5 days times $51.29. In addition to that, he has the collision damage waiver of $15.50. And in addition to that, he needs to turn that car in with a full tank of gas. That takes his total car price to be $363.85. Now his cost per mile is going to be calculated. We're going to take that $363.85 and divide it by the 198 miles that he drove. So his cost per mile is a little bit high in this vehicle. It's $1.84 per mile. It's always going to behoove you to make sure you shop around, especially if you're on vacation. You will have lots of options of where to purchase or rent a vehicle. So make sure you shop around and get the best price. All right, I hope you have a great day. If you have any questions, send me an email.